What is up, psychos? Welcome back to the channel. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm excited because we're starting a new series here on the channel. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time now, and I finally have put it together, and I truly hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the very first episode of Scariest Home Videos, VHS backwards. I know you see what we're doing over here. Come on. Now, reacting to scary stories and videos on the internet is nothing new, and this series is obviously heavily inspired by content creators that I look up to. But this is something I've wanted to do for a while now. It's almost like an iconic thing to do for YouTube, and I love that classic YouTube, and that's what I want to do with my channel. And ideally, hopefully, we as a community will create something that future content creators will be inspired from, like we are today. And hopefully through this series, we can connect more as a community, us together as a family. You know, we can unplug from life, all the stress and worrying we have, and we can watch this series together, react to some scary stories, you know. And as always, you can find the links to all the videos that we react to in the description. Please support those creators. And if you know any scary stories you want to send to me to react to, you can send it through me on Twitter or on the Discord. It's the easiest way to reach me. Alrighty, boys, I hope you're ready because we about to get into it. We're talking dark web and we're talking OnlyFans, two of the most scariest things that have ever existed in life.
We all probably hear the phrase, "I don't eat meat," more than 20 times a week. We hear it when entering a restaurant.
Okay, bro, what's with the Walmart Shaggy? If this dude don't go solve some mysteries, why did his face move like that?
Hear it when ordering food, and we also hear it in our daily conversations. And while I thought I'd never utter those words, an incident that happened a few years ago made me swear to never eat meat again. This gruesome story details my horrific experience and explains why I don't eat meat. I'd just come home from college. It was the summer break, and coming home was always great because I got to see my childhood friends. Tommy was like my best friend, as we'd known each other since childhood. He was a bit shy and reserved, while I was outgoing and social. But even with our different personalities, we were like brothers. Every summer there was an organized get-together where all our childhood friends would meet up and catch up with each other. Tommy didn't...
Bro, do you guys do stuff like that? I don't know. Maybe my school experience is a little different than y'all's, but I don't know. Once I got done with school, I didn't want to see anybody. So I was not doing no reunion or anything like that.
Mingled, ate, and caught up with most of our other childhood friends. Towards the end of the program, a man walked up to us, and I recognized him.
What are you talking about? If someone walks up to you with this look, with their eyes like that, run away. I don't care if he went to my school or not. This dude looks like a fucking murderer. Or he just did a line of coke in the bathroom. Either or, I want nothing to do with it.
He was an eccentric foodie who was obsessed with finding new tastes. He was also a hugely popular YouTuber. His channel featured various food-related topics like ASMR, mukbangs, and new cuisines.
And killing people.
Basically everything that had to do with food. While he was one of our childhood friends, we weren't really close to him, as Alexander was a little weird as a kid.
Get away from him now.
Jake, Tommy, it's so good to see you, Alexander said as he pulled us in for a hug. You both smell so good. Now, this was a weird statement, as Tommy and I weren't wearing any cologne, but...
Yeah, this guy's weird. Get away from him.
Brushed it off, as I thought it was just one of his pleasantries. So I said, "It's nice to see you, Alexander." He then asked, "Did you enjoy the food?" Tommy responded with, "It was great." "I'm so glad you enjoyed it."
Oh, I don't like him.
I made the whole thing, he said. "Well, you did a good job. I also thought it was lovely," I replied. He smiled and said,
"Dude,
now, I'm about to film a new mukbang video for my YouTube channel, and I would love it if you two would participate in it." Now, I wasn't really much of a food enthusiast, and neither was Tom, but I didn't want to be rude, so I gladly agreed and told him we'd be in his YouTube video.
No,
Alexander
sir.
then said, "Great. I'll send you my address details, and we'll see you on Wednesday." Before walking away, Tommy wasn't too happy about this. "You shouldn't have done that, Jake. You know I don't like going to things like that." "Don't worry," I replied. "I'm sure it'll be a fun experience." Little did I know that it'd be an experience I would never forget. It was finally Wednesday and we were driving to Alexander's house. Tommy was feeling really anxious and he said to me, "I don't know about this, Jake. I'm having a really odd feeling about this. We both know how weird Alexander is."
Yeah, bro's a weirdo.
I assumed it was just Tommy's introvert nature acting up, so I calmed him down, saying,
Why does it look like he's sitting on his lap? Oh God, bro. I need to just, I don't know. Whenever I get scared, bro, I try to make jokes, dude.
I knew he was a bit weird when he was a kid, but he's a man now. Tommy replied, "I know he is, but he's still weird."
He's still weird,
Didn't you notice
bro.
how he looked at us at the get-together? He had this creepy smile on. Plus, he said we smelt good. Both of us know we weren't wearing any cologne. Something just seems off about this.
Okay, at least he got a brain on him.
I figured all this was probably just Tommy being in his head, so I said, "I really didn't notice any of that. But it's probably all in your head, man. We'll be fine." We eventually arrived at Alexander's house, and the first thing I noticed was how huge it was. I knew being a YouTuber paid well, but I didn't realize it paid.
It don't pay
this
well
much.
for me, bro.
We knocked on the door, and Alex quickly rushed to open it. He looked ecstatic, and the look he gave us was more craving than happy.
What's
He
wrong
eventually
with
spoke.
him? He's
Come
high
in,
on
come in,
fucking
he
cocaine
said.
and crack mitts.
We walked in and stood in the hallway. "You gentlemen smell divine," he said. This time I was wearing cologne, which made it less odd, but there was something eerie about the way he said it. "Thank you," I replied. Tommy clearly wasn't comfortable hearing Alex say that again, but he smiled and nodded. "Wait here while I get the cameras ready," Alex said before walking away. We sat down on the seats in the hallway, and the more I sat there, the more I began to feel as anxious as Tommy. I would remind myself that I'm an adult at intervals, and I needed to stop being immature. The silence in the mansion was eerie and creepy. "What the fuck is that?" Tommy said, breaking the silence. I turned to see him looking at a painting on the wall.
Hey!
The painting seemed to consist of various
Oh.
human figures.
That's a painting, bro. I thought that was like a doorway and he was in the darkness. What is that a painting
A
of?
small child. "Are they eating her?" Tommy said, visibly disturbed. I knew at first glance that was exactly what was happening, but
Get out.
decided not to freak Tommy
Get out.
So I said, "It looks like it."
He's
but
about to eat
I'm not
you,
sure."
dude.
It's such a bizarre painting. That's when we heard Alexander's voice from the end of the hall. "Beautiful, isn't it? I found it in an art gallery. The painter said it was inspired by an old tribe who always felt incomplete. So in order to find completion, they took from another." Tommy responded with, "What does that even mean?" Alexander smiled and said,
I hate him.
"Only people of true art can understand it." "Well, I think it's a fucking weird painting and you should get your money back." I could see Tommy was annoyed now, and I decided I should probably step in, but before I could say anything, Alexander continued with, "Well, it cost me $20,000, and I don't regret spending that amount because it was well worth it. You may not see the beauty now, my dear Tommy, but with time, you will."
Bro,
Tommy
look
was
at
about to
this
say
dude's
something, but
face.
Alexander quickly cut him off. "The cameras are ready, and I'd like us to begin shooting the video." Tommy wasn't happy, but he said, "Fine, let's get it over with." As we walked down to the kitchen, I could tell Tommy was mad at me, as I was the one who dragged him into this.
Yeah.
And it showed. I too was feeling extremely anxious, but Alex seemed completely oblivious to all this, as he still had a huge smile on his face. I knew Alex was always a weird dude, but this was getting a bit too much, and just as I thought things couldn't get any worse, he showed us what we would be eating. At first glance, you'd know it was meat, but the question was, what kind? It didn't look like pork, beef, or chicken, and it didn't smell like any of them either. I looked at Tommy and knew he was thinking the exact same thing.
Get the hell out,
But before
dude.
Tommy said anything, I asked Alexander, "What kind of meat is this? Because it doesn't look like anything I've had. Is it mutton?" He looked at us and said, "Well, if I told you, it would defeat the point of the mukbang video. You don't have to know what it is. Just know it's delicious." He then told us to sit down because he was about to start the video, but my mind had already started flying to numerous places. I wasn't even paying attention to what Alexander was saying in the introduction, as I began to ask myself if Tommy was right all along. Have I been too nice?
Oh, how many like warning signs does your ass need, Shaggy? Like, what are you talking about? This dude's about to feed you up a fucking human thigh. Look at his face. He's loving this.
I was about to say something when Alex finally said to the camera, "Now, my childhood friends and I are going to try out this mystery meat." He handed us a portion, and despite my lack of enthusiasm to eat whatever it was, I decided to get it over with and leave. As Alex started eating, Tommy and I put the mystery meat in our mouths, and as soon as it touched my tongue, it was as if all my worries went away. There are no words to describe how delicious this mystery.
They like it? Bro, no way.
I instinctively went for another.
Ill the way his face moves.
Alex began to laugh as he said to the camera, "Looks like they like it." I ate to my fill that day, and just like that, all the anxiousness, creepiness, and weirdness went away.
My God.
After the video was finished, we all hung out and had a great afternoon. Turns out there was more to Alex than just food. He was also into gaming, music, and movies. And we talked and bonded for the rest of the afternoon. I had just heaved a sigh of relief as I had become comfortable, and Tommy had too. And I thought to myself, I'm so glad we came. As we sat there talking,
they're about to be
Tommy
friends now?
said, "But really, man, that mystery meat was delicious."
Here it goes.
"What is it? Really?"
Little Timmy from up the block.
Alex said the meat was imported, but he was sure it was just a combination of assorted meat, as he tasted a hint of chicken. As he continued talking, I felt the need to pee, so I asked Alex for his bathroom, and he said it was down the hall to the left. After using the bathroom, I started to go back to the living room, but I felt really thirsty as I'd eaten a lot of meat, so I went to the kitchen, opened the fridge, and took out some water to drink. As I was drinking the water, I began to notice something out the corner of my eye. Was that a... I screamed before I could finish the thought. Right there in Alex's fridge was what seemed to be the hand of a human child.
It really is little Timmy from up the block, bro. I told you, dude. Shaggy and fucking Tommy are idiots, bro.
Behind the groceries were more human parts. Feet, arms, fingers. And right then and there, my brain put everything together. I threw up immediately, and I began to scream again. That's when I heard Tommy call out to me, "Jake, are you okay?" I didn't hear him.
The way this guy's freaking out.
All I heard was a thumping sound like something fell, followed by silence. It didn't take long before Alex was standing in the kitchen.
No fucking way. Look at that face, bro. That's straight up nightmares. He just killed Tommy?
The metal pipe. The end of the pipe had something red on it that I figured was blood. He stood looking at me in silence with a smile on his face for about 2 minutes before saying, "I see you found your favorite dish." I wanted to say something, but ended up throwing up again. And before I could raise my head, I felt the hard metal pipe hit it, and I blacked out.
Damn it, Shaggy.
I began to slowly open my eyes, and the first thing I saw were bright, flashing lights. It took a while before my vision focused, and I could finally see my surroundings. I was in what seemed to be a basement. I was also tied down to what seemed to be a hard concrete rock. The rock had red liquid stains all over it, and it reminded me of a butcher's slab. To my right, I saw Tommy. He was unconscious, and he too was also tied down to something similar. I could hear Alex's voice saying, "What's up, my fellow eccentric foodies? Now that you've all watched the preliminary video, this is where the real fun starts, and I do this only for you, my premium fans."
Oh, this is where he uploads on the dark web.
He was standing in front of a camera. He was wearing an apron, and lights were staged all around us. I was feeling a bit woozy after the blow to my head, but I blurted out the first thing that came to my mind. "Alex, you sick freak!" He then slowly turned to look at me and had this sick smile on his face. "Look, guys, our meal is awake," he said while staring at the camera. "What do you want from us?" I screamed. He slowly looked at me and said, "What do we want? We want what it is you failed to appreciate all these years. The divine food that has been you all this while. He walked up to me and buried his
Crazy
nose in my
ass.
chest. You smell so good. So tasty. Your sweat is doing a really good job of seasoning you up. As he said those words again,
What?
the realization hit me. So that's what you meant by that? I asked. He didn't respond. He just walked to the camera and said, "That's enough chatter with the food." He walked over to get what looked like a toolkit from a shelf and started bringing out all sorts of sharp butcher knives. He then looked at the camera and spoke as if he was on a cooking show talking to an audience. Now, when the meat is fresh like this, there are some parts that are only delicious when eaten raw. He then walked up to Tommy.
Oh
with
my
the knife
God,
in his
he's about to
hand.
slice him up.
He lifted Tommy's head and held onto Tommy's ear. And with a clean cut, he took Tommy's ear off.
He
My
just
stomach
chopped his
churned,
ear
and I
off,
felt like
bro. Like
throwing
Mike
up again.
Tyson about to eat that
I'm
shit.
guessing the pain woke Tommy up because he immediately started screaming. And Alex, with no hesitation, put Tommy's bloody ear into his mouth like it was a cracker. I looked at him with disgust as I began to shout, "You sick freak! Don't you dare touch my friend!" He looked at me and said, "Don't look at me like that. We both know that you love the taste. I saw your eyes as you gobbled down that meat. You had tasted something divine, and after that, you never go back.
Wow.
Don't you see, Jake? We are all walking cuisines. Children, teens, adults, each of us has our different flavor, and I have to taste them all." Tommy was screaming and began to cry.
Bro, this is not
I looked at
Pokemon,
Alex
bro.
as
You
he
do not need to
continued
collect them
ranting
all,
of his
dude.
nonsense, but all that was going through my mind was, I have to get out of here, and I have to take Tommy with me. Because a part of me knew this was all my fault.
Yeah, it kind of
If only I
is.
had listened to Tommy, he wouldn't be in this mess. I began to profusely pull at my constraints. My wrists and ankles hurt, but I didn't care. As I did this, I watched him walk over to Tommy's feet, and while looking at the camera, he said, "Another wonderful part to eat raw is the toes.
Yo.
The taste is wonderful." And with no hesitation,
Oh
I
my
watched him bite off
God.
2 of my friend's toes.
This
He
dude
looked
is
like
not
an
playing
animal.
around.
Blood was all over his face as he said to the camera, "Now, when eating the toes raw, you suck and nibble. You don't bite so as to avoid biting down on the bone." Tommy was screaming uncontrollably now, and I could only imagine the
Poor
pain he was
Tommy.
going through. I kept pulling on my constraints till my hands and feet felt like
You're
they were
taking
about to
too
pop.
long to escape,
What
Shaggy.
Alex did next is something that I still see every
Just
time
give
I
up.
close my
Tommy's
eyes.
dead at this point.
He walked up to Tommy and said, "Now, you don't want your food to be struggling when cutting off the good parts, so it's best for them to bleed out. A clean, thin cut across the neck should do. Now, not too deep." He paused and continued with, "We've got some good stuff in there." He looked at me, and with that,
Bro.
he carefully slit Tommy's throat open.
R.I.P. Tommy.
Blood gurgled out Tommy's neck and down his chest. "Oh, he's so messy," Alex said, cleaning the knife on his apron and walking away. As I watched Tommy bleed out, I began to scream, Tommy, hold on, man. I'm gonna get you out of here." Alex, who was completely unfazed by everything that was going on, just kept on talking to the camera. "Now, we have to get the preserving oil, as we need to keep the meat in pristine condition. I'll be right back." He walked up the stairs, and with that, he was gone.
What
As I
the
watched
hell?
Tommy bleed out and slowly stop moving, I began to cry. "Don't worry, man. I'm gonna get you out of here. I'm gonna fix this," I said in tears. Then Tommy began to speak. It was obvious it was hard for him to do, but he did anyway. "It's all right, Jake," he said
Oh.
to me in a really low voice. "None of this is your fault.
Well,
Make sure to get out of here. You're my brother,
oh, damn.
and I loved you." Silence followed, and he stopped moving. I could see his blood all over his body, and I began to call out his name. I didn't want to believe it, but I knew he was dead. As I cried, I began pulling harder at my constraints, till I felt my wrist snap. The pain was unimaginable, but I was free. As I walked up to Tommy's body and began to sob.
Too late,
I
bro.
saw the metal pipe on the floor and picked it up.
Tommy's a goner.
I began to hear footsteps, so I waited at the base of the steps. "I'm back, guys," I heard him say. "Hopefully the meat has bled out." And without hesitation, I struck him hard on his face.
Yes, sir.
And he fell to the
Hit him
floor.
again.
I noticed he was still breathing, and even though he was unconscious,
Come on, Shaggy.
I wanted to kill him so badly, but I didn't.
My
I
God,
told
bro.
myself he already ruined my life by killing my best friend, and killing him would
That's
just
fair. That's
ruin
fair.
my life
But
even
come
more.
on.
So instead of beating him to death, I went upstairs to call the cops.
At least tie him up.
After that, I came back down to the basement. I walked up to Tommy's body and I cried my heart out.
Damn, that's dark.
The weeks that followed seemed like a fast blur. I was called by the cops for questioning, and I told them everything I knew. They told me I was lucky to be alive because no one out of the 30 victims they found had ever escaped Alex. They
This
also
dude's a
told me that he
serial
was running
killer.
a secret streaming channel for his premium subscribers on the deep web,
On the fucking
which
deep
explains
web,
why he
bro.
was filming us, and over 1,000 users were found. I was alarmed at this
That shit's
because
scary.
it just meant there are 1,000 people out there who are as sick as Alex. The families of the victims were informed.
He ain't
They all
smiling no
demanded
more.
Justice. But Alexander pled insanity, so he was taken to a high-profile state mental hospital. Tommy's parents were pained by this, and I heard the other victims' family were appealing the case so that he could get a life sentence or even the death penalty. I hoped it worked out for them, because that man truly deserved to die by the hands of justice. We buried Tommy during that week, and I said my final goodbyes to my best friend. It's been 5 years
Dude,
since
the way
this
his face moves.
and instead of letting it break me down mentally, I pushed on with my life. I'm married now, and I have a 2-year-old daughter. I still go to therapy regularly, but it doesn't really help.
Damn.
Because every time I close my eyes, I find myself back there. And while I don't eat meat, sometimes I get this irresistible urge to do so. Sometimes I find
no.
myself looking at my kid daughter. I'd be salivating and wondering
Hey!
how she tastes.
What? He's looking at his daughter? Ready to eat?
Sometimes I'd look at my wife in the same way, too.
Nah, Shaggy's weird.
I regularly get thoughts
Tommy
to
should have
cut my own
survived.
arm off and cook it, just to get that taste.
Shaggy's
I
a
use
weirdo,
all the
bro.
strength in my body to overcome these morbid thoughts, because I love my family.
No,
No matter
sir.
how hard it gets, I will move on. Alexander Anderson may have been a sick freak, but he didn't lie when he said, once you've tasted something divine,
Ugh.
you can never go back.
Now, our first video was about the deep, dark web and the scary stories and things that people do on there. But our next video is about something even more terrifying. OnlyFans.
I imagine most of you here know what OnlyFans is or have heard someone mention.
Listen, I don't know what OnlyFans is, okay? All right? I'm innocent. All right? So you don't believe me? I see you typing.
For those of you who are lying and say you haven't, OnlyFans is a portal where women and men exchange photos.
Why'd he
with
call me
fans
out
in
like that?
exchange for money. I'm sure you can imagine that these photos must be scantily clad or completely nude. And you're right. But there's room for all kinds of fetishes here, like hand, hair, and even foot photos. My name is Zach, and I had a very successful OnlyFans account, but it really wasn't mine, and that attracted attention that would ruin my life. Like many other people, I started out as a spectator. I would look at various other women's OnlyFans accounts and pay for their photos. One day I wanted to pay and realized that my credit card no longer had funds. Oh my God, how much have I spent here?
Yo.
At that moment, I realized one thing.
I
This
bet a
place
lot
is
of people
gold
have that
mine,
moment.
But how was I going to exploit it? I was quite ugly and I didn't want to expose myself to that either. Just at that moment of doubt, my sister.
Bro, I know this isn't going where I think it's going. He said that was his sister. And he's about to exploit OnlyFans.
And I had a terrible idea. I took casual pictures of her and started
My
uploading
God,
them
I
to
knew
a fake
it.
account, pretending to be her. The account was just feet and hands. I wouldn't need to use her there. Our skin color is identical, and I can take the pictures myself. Once I created the account, the success started to be instant. Many people wanted pictures of her feet, her hands, hell, even her knees. None of those people knew it was really me.
Okay,
I
wait.
started to make
So it's his sister's profile pic, but he's taking pictures of his body parts, like his knees and feet. Don't get me wrong, it's still weirdo activity, but it's not as bad as I thought it was about to be.
A lot of money, which made my family suspicious. But since I was bringing money into the house and giving gifts to my sister, they decided not to ask me too many questions. It served me well to do this too, since I felt less guilty about invading my sister's privacy. However, all was not well. Very quickly, the problems started to arrive. At first, I thought it was something simple and that being a man, I would be able to handle it. I would have never imagined that everything would escalate as much as it did. It all started with an innocent message from a guy asking me for pictures of my feet. I accepted and sent them to him. The user was new, but as long as he paid, I had no problem. But as time went by, he started asking for more and more pictures. Initially, I saw him as a gold mine, the best customer I ever had. But I started to worry more and more. His messages became more violent and aggressive.
Oh God.
He said he wanted to eat my feet, that he wanted to rip them off my leg and put them as trophies in his
What's going
house.
on with eating humans, bro?
At first, I didn't pay much attention to him. But when he really scared me was when he said my name. Thank you for the pictures, Zach. What? How do you know my name? Terrified, I quickly closed the tabs and the account. Suddenly, I received a WhatsApp message on my cell phone. It was a voice message. Do you really think you can scam me?
Holy
I know
shit.
everything about you. I know what you're doing. And of course, I know where you live. Stay calm. I'm not angry. In fact, I don't care about your sister's feet.
This dude piss off Venom? Like, why does he sound like that?
I want yours. I'm on my way to visit you right now, Zach. In a panic, I started locking all the windows and doors. My sister was at home, but my parents were. I couldn't put them in danger. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen and went into my room, terrified. With any luck, this would be just a bluff, but I couldn't risk it. Within seconds, I got another voice message. I can still see you, Zach.
What the hell?
I'm too close now. How about you make this a little more fun for me? Turn off your webcam, so it's a little harder for me to find you. The webcam? Were you spying on me? Of course he was. This was a hacker. Startled, I unplugged the webcam and instantly, someone knocked on the door. Mom, don't open it! When I came down, it was too late. My mom had already opened the door.
Oh my
But
God.
behind her, there was no psychopath. It was my sister and her boyfriend. As soon as they came in, I closed the door again, and a little calmer, I went to my room. Angela's boyfriend was tall and imposing. He would surely defend us if something happened. Minutes passed,
Bro,
and I
are
didn't
you
receive
kidding me,
any more
Zach?
messages. Was it all over? Now calmer, I heard my door open, and Angela and her boyfriend came to greet me. Hey guys, how are you? Before I could finish my sentence, Angela's boyfriend came up behind me, grabbed me,
Hey!
and covered
What the hell? Wait, do they know? They have to know. Look at this man.
my mouth so I wouldn't scream. Angela approached him with a cell phone and held it to his mouth. And the man sent a voice message. I told you I was coming for you, little Zach. As soon as he finished sending the message, my cell phone rang. This was the same voice as the man who was stalking me. It was him. So my sister knows what he was doing? Are they trying to teach me a lesson?
Identity theft, Zach. That's not very nice. Do you think your little gifts would make me not realize what you're doing?
Ugh. He's fucking creepy.
With that said, Angela pulled out a handsaw and stretched out my foot.
What
You
the
think
hell?
I won't do this? I told you I'd take your feet off and put them on. Do you think I'm a liar?
Having said that, he put the saw
Hey!
at that moment.
Bro, his
I could feel
sister's
the
a
cold metal
maniac.
resting on it. My heart began to beat violently. Was he really going to do it?
You know, Zach, I really don't care about the pictures, but you see, I'm in a much more private business on the deep web, and it bothers those people if my image gets damaged. Don't think I have anything against you, okay? This is more of a punishment for them. It's either this or kill you.
I'm telling Mom. What are you talking about?
Anyway, I'll be honest with you. I also think you really need a punishment.
Without further
Oh
ado,
my
my
God.
sister started sawing my foot while her boyfriend was holding me. The pain was indescribable, and she was doing it really slow, so it was even worse. The blood was coming out everywhere, and I could only scream and scream. But I couldn't even scream, because they were holding my mouth.
Look how
I
angry
didn't
that
know what
man
to
is.
do, and I didn't know if I was going to survive. I was getting dizzy, and I was losing a lot of blood. Suddenly, everything started to shut down. The pain felt just as intense, but I was running out of energy to even try to scream. Finally, I closed my eyes. When I woke up, I was in my bed, and my parents were in front of me. Had it all been a dream? You're finally awake, Zach.
Bro,
You
check
look
your
better.
feet.
Frightened, I lifted the sheet and looked down.
Oh my God, she
My
cut
feet
off
were
both his
gone.
feet.
Instead, there were only bandages. My life was ruined.
This is why you don't mess with OnlyFans, bro. This is why your feet get chopped off.
Hey, calm down. You're going to be fine. Understand your poor sister. Her employers forced her to do this to you.
Wait, Mom knows?
You know? Of course we do. This is the family business. You're just too immature to join. But she cut off my feet. How can you not be worried?
Because, just like your sister said, you deserved it, son.
Don't make that face. Someday, when you grow up, you'll be able to join the family.
In the meantime, we'll be watching you. Always.
And that was the last
What
time
the
we
hell
talked
is
about
this,
it.
bro?
From that day on, I worked honestly from my computer and saved as much money as I could to leave home. When I left, my family always visited my girlfriend and me. Everyone pretended nothing was wrong, and just in case, I didn't say anything to my partner. It would be putting her in danger in vain. From that day on, I am condemned to a life of fear. A life in which all my loved ones will always be at risk. From my
What
own
a
family.
twist.
I know what I did was wrong, but nothing justified living the nightmare that I am living.
That whole family needs to be
Nowadays,
thrown away.
the
Are you
only thing
crazy?
I aspire to is to be at peace. But I think I'm asking for too much.
And that is our very first episode of Scariest Home Videos. I truly hope you enjoyed it. Remember, if you have any videos of your own you want me to see, send it to me on Twitter or Discord. Slash that like button. Join Slasher Jane. Until then, don't do drugs. Don't have sex. And oh yeah, calm down.